What is a radical? Let's take a look at this one. This is a square root. A radical is really just the inverse function of squaring. The index here is 2. So a square root undoes anything squared. It's like a vacuum cleaner that vacuums up powers of 2. So if you change 81 into 9 squared, then it vacuums up the 2 and you're left with 9. Let's look at 36. The square root of 36 is the square root of 6 squared. Vacuum up the 2 and you get 6. How about 49? The square root of 49 is the square root of 7 squared, and you get 7. But what happens when you take something that's not a perfect square like 36 or 49, like the square root of 40? If you take the square root of 40, you get something in between 6 and 7. In this case, 6.32455532, etc., and it goes on forever. But if you square that, because 6.32 lies between 6 and 7, you get 40. Did you know that radicals are just like variables when you multiply them by something like 3? So 3 radical 2 is radical 2 plus radical 2 plus radical 2, just like 3 times x is x plus x plus x. Because each x has a coefficient of 1, and you have 3 of them. So you have 3 radical 2's as well. But what about when you multiply 6 times something like 3 radical 2? Do you multiply the 6 times the radical or the 3? Well, non-radicals can only affect non-radicals, so you get 18 radical 2. And finally, let's take a look at when you multiply 2 radicals together. You can just take the numbers underneath the radical symbol and multiply them together. So in this case, you get 3 radical 6.